Om. Saira,
Right.
just recap what we discussed last week. Swami has introduced the concept of samadhi and he's explaining to us what it involves. Um, the last topic which we discussed was the Turiya stage, which is the stage beyond the waking, dreaming, and sleeping stages. We tried to discuss to the best of our understanding. But the reality, as we realized, is that as we have not reached, we will not be able to understand it. Not only that, we will not even be able to explain it. Any attempt to understand that will be like the blind man trying to figure out what an elephant is. So, of course, we have to fathom to some extent. So we tried, but we all should understand that that's not complete understanding. And then Swami says there's a stage like that, and Swami wants us to strive through sadhana to reach that state. Because once we reach that state, we will be always in a state of bliss. This is what we sort of came to understand through our various discussions on that topic. So with that, we will continue because Swami is continuing to explain the state of samadhi further so that it gives us some motivation to understand. We may never grasp it fully, but it's okay to grasp it to some extent so that it motivates us to progress towards that. Sairam. Sairam, Sister Kalyani, please.
Bhakta, but there are some who attain samadhi. Will they have all this inquiry, etc., in samadhi? Swami, wonderful fellow, how can there be inquiry in samadhi? When you sleep soundly, do you have any thoughts about the world around you? This is also like that. Bhakta, there will be no manas in samadhi, isn't it? Swami, the manas that persist in sleep will be there also. Bhakta, they talk of a turiya stage, a beyond stage in samadhi. What is that, Swami? Swami, beyond the waking, the dreaming, and the deep sleep stages.
Thank you very much, Sister. Actually, I just, we have already discussed it last week, but I thought I will just point out the last response from Swami in the Telugu version. Swami says, such people who are already in samadhi, even if they have their eyes open, they will be beyond the stages of waking, dreaming, and sleeping. Even if they have the eyes open, they will be beyond all these three stages. Is what Swami says in his in the Telugu version of the Sanatana Sar, the original written by Swami. So I thought I would just mention that. Again, I think the English translation talks about beyond the waking and dreaming and deep sleep stages, but there's one piece which Swami has said in the Telugu Vahini, so I thought I would just mention that. If anyone has something to discuss or say, we will pause for about 10 seconds. If there's no discussion, then we will move on.
Sairam, the same idea is given here to a page down.
Okay, brother.
Yeah,
that's the next question and answer. Yes, same Swami is further discussing. Thank you. Okay, Sister Kalyani, I think you can.
Bhakta, why is it that those stages are absent there? What are the characteristics of that stage? Swami, those three are the characteristics of I-ness, ahamkara, the person with manas, who does all acts. That will not be present in the turiya stage. it would have disappeared long ago. For them, it is all the same, with eyes open or with eyes closed. It is all one. Bhakta. Swami, without that aham, how can they talk? Swami. What was aham in the beginning, when the reality is grasped, is transformed as swarupa, the true entity. This is referred to as the destruction of the mind, manonasanam.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. So the disciple, I think, just like all of us, is trying to understand that state, and Swami, to the best of our understanding, is trying to explain it. He says, I think the devotee is asking, why are those stages not there? If a jnani is walking around in the body, how can that person be not be having those stages? And Swami says that those stages are the characteristics of the I-ness. I-ness or ahamkara. So that is Swami, in Telugu, Swami says, ahamkara is the mind. And so when these two are present, or manas or ahamkara is present, everyone indulges in all kinds of activities. But Swami says the person who is in Turiya stage is beyond that. For him, the mind does not exist. For them, everything is the same, whether they are closed eyes or opened eyes. Their state of mind or their state is not any different. It's the same through all these apparent different stages which we go through. Then Swami, then the devotee is asking, then how can they talk? Is the question the devotee is asking. If they don't have mind, then how can they talk if they're not in that state? Then Swami goes and explain what was aham there in the beginning, when the reality is grasped, has transformed into Swarupa. That is, the identification of the I, the sense of I, has changed. It has transformed into the real Atma Swarupa. And then Swami says at that point in time, the mind does not exist. Swami says sometimes it's referred to as Manonashanam, which is the destruction of the mind. So I just went through those points. I will open it up for discussion, please. Anyone who wants to share anything which strikes you here, or please go ahead.
Sorry, this might be a trivial question, but I guess for people who are in that stage or enlightened people, does that mean they don't sleep like the rest of us sleep, or they don't have a need for sleep?
Very good question, sister. Very good question. I will open it up for others to share their thoughts.
So, Sairam brother, so under the real Atma, Swarupa stage or Duriya stage, the mind is not there. So we think we are looking at through our physical eye, world within. When you open the inner eye, you see everything. Your eye is everywhere. Your ear is everywhere. You because you are Paramatma, that stage. So you are everywhere. So you can hear anything. You can walk anywhere. But in that stage, because Manas is the one troubling everything. If the Manas is not there, you are going to that stage. Thank you, Sairam brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Sairam, this is Sapo auntie. Is this the mind is not active? So is it a deep sleep state?
Sairam auntie, but from what Swami has said, it stage is beyond even sleep. And so
beyond sleep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Beyond even deep sleep. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Sairam, this was discussed by you earlier too. So you were quoting Bhagavad Gita sloka also. So actually they will not be sleeping because Bhagawan, he goes to bed. I am not comparing the Jivan Mukta with Bhagavan, but for understanding sake, we don't know what they are doing. They may lie on the bed and they give darshan to devas, talk to people, we don't know. So the jnanis too, they don't sleep because sleep is ignorance. So, but for a common person like us, we look, oh, he goes to bed and lie down. But even in the sleep, he's in the samadhi state, deep samadhi state. So that's what common sense, our common sense also tells us that, because when we progress towards spirituality, the sleep hours get reduced. So the more and more sleep hours get reduced. So ultimately, for a full-fledged jnani, there cannot be any sleeping hours. At one places, Ramana Maharshi said, somebody asked whether jnanis have dreams. And dream. And he said, jnanis have dream. Yes, I don't know the answer is correct or not, but I'm just saying, yes, jnanis have dreams, but not the dream that you people undergo. You have a different dreams. Jnanis have a different sleep. He said, jnanis have a different sleep and different dreams. So, in this state, in the Bhagavan here describing the Manonasanam, so this is totally not human level. So, naturally, we can't expect them to say that they will be sleeping. There's no sleep. I think that's my understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to say anything?
Sairam, brother. The Bhakta's question is, Swami, without aham, how can they talk? Swami says, once the mind is distraction, so that's mean there's nothing in the mind, so that means he cannot talk. Am I right? That's what the meaning is. Thank you, Sairam. I'm trying to understand that.
I think we are all discussing. Okay, I think I'm just going to pose a question, because what happens is we are all discussing the sleep, be a stage beyond these stages. So I think it will be a good idea to see, understand at least what is sleep. I think we'll just go around and discuss and find out what we think is sleep. Because if we understand what is sleep, then we may be able to understand what is beyond sleep even. So I think I will just go around. All of us sleep every day. I think it's a good idea to understand what we think is sleep. If anyone would volunteer to share your thoughts, what you think is sleep. Everyone is sleeping. If you don't know what our sleep is, we will never be able to understand what is beyond sleep.
So, Sairam, brother. So, my understanding is the deep sleep, we don't have the manners. That's what Baba is saying. Even the dream stage, we have the, it's not, there is manners is there. The reason is, when you have dream, that there's the whatever you have seen or you experience in the dream is not real. The reason is, if you're active stage, if you are doing anything, the time is there. Suppose if you are going to Sai Center or any spiritual places, that you have to drive there. That means you have to spend some time there. That the purpose is there, and you achieve something there. Then you come back. When you are in the dream, you are in Canada. You may be, your dream may be in Sri Lanka. So the manas can create some maya, but deep sleep, that maya, that manas is not there. That's what you are experiencing. Even that one, that also, you cannot say that you are enjoying the happiness or bliss or nothing there, because you can say I had a good sleep. That you can express that one after you woke up only. You are not experiencing anything on that deep sleep. But when you're jnani, they experience everything. They can see everything. They can, suppose the jnani can see you, what you are doing at home, if they want it. So they are beyond everything. They can see, they can walk. They are enjoying the bliss, that stage. That is my understanding. Thank you, Sairam brother.
Okay, but I think we should discuss. I think Brother Sitaram has written something, so we can do it. Kalyan, can you read this?
Body sleeps as per its dharma. Eye awareness doesn't need sleep. Sleep, a period of rest for the external senses and the body organs as a whole. Mind can continue to be awake during this stage.
Okay, again, I will pose the question, what exactly is sleep? And I think two questions. What exactly is sleep, and why do we need sleep? I think the doctors can answer at least. Because, see, the whole problem is, in life, we have gone through so much, we really don't have a grasp of what that state is.
So, brother, the body sleeps, the body, that's when you relate to the sleep is for body, okay? In a real sense, in an atmic sense, there is no sleep. That's what body, sleep related to the body. That's the way I will define. Thank you, Saira.
Saira, as per our discussion here in this page, I think, this page, that some pages before, I think, that Bhagawan admits that there is mind even in the deep sleep state. Like regular samadhi. In the regular samadhi, the normal, ordinary samadhi, the mind is there. But it's not predominant. It is latent. So in sleep, there it could be mind, but it's not functioning. So that, in other words, ego. We have now, Bhavan has said, mind and ego are one and the same in different corners. So I is not there or hidden in sleep state, so that the wanderings in the mind is absent. So always thoughts take away our energy. In the waking stage, we are thinking so many thoughts, and it all saps away our energy. So we become weak. So in the sleep, the mind is not functioning, thoughts are not there, so energy is not wasted. So a complete rest for us, for the mind, for the body and mind. And next day we get up fresh, everything fresh. So, but of course, we don't feel that we slept actually. Only in dream only. Whenever I get up, I see that I was dreaming, and when I'm getting up, when I get up, from a dream only I am getting up. My experience, I don't know others. When I get up, it was some dream. So when I sometimes think, where did I sleep through the night? So we don't know when we totally go into that absent-mindedness, or when we come up and everything is mixed up. So in short, the sleep is rest for the body and the mind, and there's a lot of energy being saved there for us to continue the next day and the day. Thank you, Sayara. This is my understanding, Sayara.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. I will just pause for maybe otherwise, I shouldn't look as we am, asking. Because this is a question which I have pondered over. So I think I will share what I think, and then we will have that discussion. Thank you very much, Brother Sivadas. See, the thing is, we are discussing the 3 stages. One is waking stage, dreaming stage, and the sleep stage. In the waking stage, the body, senses, and mind, everything is active. So active, it just doesn't sit quiet. More than the body, the mind is more active than the body. Then what happens is we lie down to sleep because we are tired. We are tired because why we are tired? Our body has been active and the mind also has been very, very active. So we lie down and then we drift off into the dream stage. When we go into the dream stage, the body is there. The external senses are there, but they are all at rest. As Brother Sivadas says, they are all at rest. We can't smell, our eyes don't see, we don't hear anything. We are in dream stage. So that means the externally focused senses and the body is resting. But what is active is the mind. The mind has been active during the waking stage, so it's still continuing to be active. It will dream this, it will dream that, and all that happens. Sometimes we don't even remember what we dreamt. We know that we dreamt, but everything is so hazy because the mind is so active. Then it is very active, and then what happens? The mind goes into rest. It's not its choice because it's so tired, it just falls flat. And the mind is also resting. So in deep sleep stage, the body is present, the external senses are present, but they are all at rest. In the mind is present, but it's completely at rest. So it is not moving. But the thing is, because we are so tired, we don't have a choice. We have to just fall flat. As Brother Sivadas earlier said, as we progress spiritually, we will require less sleep. The reason is when the mind is not kept active, the mind is not used at all, it does not need rest. If the body is not exerted too much, the body doesn't need rest. So the trick is, jnani, what they do, they use the body or the mind only as required without unnecessarily exerting it. So for their mind and the body, the rest is actually not needed. That is why many rishis, they go without sleep because their mind is always at rest. They don't need sleep to feel rejuvenated. Only if you tire your mind, only if you tire your body, then those two are needed. So a person who has reached the stage of Turiya, he will be using these instruments, but they will not tire. They are not unnecessarily exerting it. Because they don't overuse it, the mind is, they don't really need the sleep the way we do. They don't even have a dream because their mind is not active like the way we do. Our mind is active when we are awake. So this is my understanding. So I think it's good to understand, what are the stages, because we go through all this, but we don't think about it. We just sleep. Just the way we eat, we don't know what we are eating, what is happening, is the body able to digest? Something tastes good, we eat. So there are many things in life which we go through. I think that is why Swami is talking about this. So we understand what exactly is wrong. If we are saying, many people feel sleepy when they are daytime also, Why? Only one reason. Either the brain is exercised too much in some manner or other. Then of course you will feel sleepy. If you eat too much also, you will sleep because the body says everything has shut down. I have to digest the food. So I think, so just being aware of these things will take us a little further in the sadhana path, is my understanding. So after that, I will share that. I may be, what I said may not mean much or incorrect. I will, it's just for discussion. So I will open it up for discussion if anyone has something to share or discuss.
Sai Ram, I like the explanation, Brother Aruno and Brother Sivadas. And the mind, when we are sleeping, is too much wandering and everything. We can even sleep. Sometimes we may face so hard to sleep. That is wasting energy and lowering like a battery charge or something like that. We can make that kind of thing to doing meditation and praying namasvarana before go to sleep, surrender to God and things like that. And whatever we do in the actions in the same day, and correct ourselves, and the mind will be pleased and like in the peace mode. Like sometimes we make mistake and surrender to God and tell what are the mistakes I made and what are the things I think, is the mind will be peace. If the mind is not peace, we hard to sleep because of our mind is wandering and hard to sleep also. The practicing meditation will help us to understand the things. Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Thank you. Sister Ambika also gave a nice explanation for the rest of for the mind rest. But Sister Aruna had a question. Do you remember, brother?
Yes, we will go to that question. She is gone to destruction of the mind.
Yeah.
So, so I just would like to, we discuss sleep. If the body is actually functioning, if you know very well, because the blood is circulating, even when we are in deep sleep, we all understand that the body is actually functioning. There is blood flowing, the heart pumping, the brain is, observing. There are many activities going on. But those are what God has created as natural processes for our existence. Those don't require any exertion from our side. So we can see, so the same way the mind is also, even in deep sleep, there is some minor actions of the mind. It is not completely destroyed. It's not absent. So that brings us to the question which Sister Aruna had. If the mind is destroyed, will they not talk? I think that's the question she asked. I think Swami is talking about it further down. So I don't want to give it because Swami says the mind is not actually destroyed. Okay, Swami says this is, you should understand very clearly, this is referred to as the destruction of the mind. That means people refer to this as destruction of the mind. So it's just Swami is quoting, others say, it is said. And then Swami is further clarifying. The thing is, the mind and the body will be present. As long as the body is there, the mind is also present. But at the most basic level, as required. So they use these tools as necessary, is my understanding. So it is not completely lost, sister. I think your question is being answered.
Destruction of mind, it is something is not out of the attachment or like that, and it's a neutral. Maybe that's distraction. It's not attached to anything, kind of. That's
So
could be the reason.
Yeah. So it is not. It is. We cannot say that it is completely absent. It has gone. It doesn't exist. See, when we 10 times we think destruction of the mind means we think it does not exist. It does not exist the way we see it.
Okay.
So that's
one more clarification. In sleep, you have said they sleep. I said I have just mentioned that when you relate to the body, right? When you have relate to the body only, there's mind is there. So when the mind and body is not there, then there's no sleep. right? The only you identify the sleep, there is a mind is there, and it goes to sleep stage, waking stage, or thing. So if you don't have that mind or the body is there, then there's no question about sleep. This just a thought on this. Thank you, Sarah.
I just wanted to clarify, sister. Sorry, I don't want it to be an argumentative thing, because even for the jnani who is walking around, he is walking around in a body. So the thing is, so the body is there, so the mind is also there, but they are there in a certain state of operation, okay, which is different from the way we operate the body or the mind, is my understanding. Okay, so they are still present, but they are present. I think we will discuss it further in the next question and answer.
Yeah, thanks.
Sairam, just before we move on, I know we were talking about how in the Turiya stage there is still mind, but the ahamkara is not present there. So does that mean that the part of the mind that is present is like the other parts, like the buddhi and the chittam, those are present?
None of them, they don't see. Only when ahankara is present, sister, the buddhi exists, because buddhi itself is in the state of what's called a duality. Okay, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. Okay, that is only needed when you have the mind and the ahankaram working. When the mind and ahankara don't work, everything is at rest. Okay, it's like, we have a digestive organ. Only if you eat, then it will work. Okay, so it's like that. If you don't eat, they're just there. Are they active? They are not active. Okay, so it's the same thing. They're available to act, but even if then they act, I think in some other place we saw, it does not leave any footprint. It does, it's like, I think Swami said, it's like writing on water. As you drawing, it vanishes. It doesn't stay put. Okay, it's zero footprint. It doesn't leave a mark on the mind. So they will be operated, but no residue of any kind will remain. Okay, that is the understanding. So I thought I was, maybe we'll give the next slide also, because then the discussion will be a bit more complete. Side.
Bhakta, so this Nirvikalpa Samadhi is all nasanam? Swami, well, my boy, samadhis are all merging, laya, not destruction. The sadhaka stage is when you have both construction and destruction. Bhakta, this subject is very interesting, Swami. Swami, don't sit quiet, merely appreciating it. Practice it in daily life. All right, you can take leave. Bhakta, very good, Swami. Please bless me in that practice. I shall be back soon.
Sai sister. So, you can see Swami is giving us hope, that it's all within our reach, but we have to work on it. And Swami is talking about, so the devotee is asking, everyone says, our mind doesn't exist, it's all destroyed, nasanam. Then Swami says, no. That is actually, now Swami is correctly saying, it is laya. Laya means merging. Swami usually gives what is laya means. For example, you take a cup of water, you take some sugar and dissolve and put it in the water and stir it. The sugar does not exist as solids anymore. Is the sugar is absent? It is absent in the manner in which it existed before, but now it is completely dissolved in the water. So if you taste it, you will find it, but that is called laya. So when the mind completely merges in the Atman, there's no separation. It is completely, every part of the mind is with that Atmic consciousness. So the mind exists, but not the way it existed for a person who is not merged. So in a state of Turiya, the mind has merged with that Atmic consciousness. So this is what Swami seems to, that's my understanding. So I will open it up for discussion. Sai Ram.
Sairam brother, okay, it could be Turiya. Okay, Turiya state, we agree. We agree that Baba saying, you are saying. But in the final merger, so the final merger, there cannot be any identity because we are all one and the same, Brahman. So when the wave merges in the sea, it merged forever, and there cannot be, you cannot take the wave back from the ocean. That amount of wave cannot be taken from the ocean again. So it is mixed forever. It could be a rare chance it can come back, but the full merger. So it is. So we see that Bhavan is talking about the samadhis and duriyas states, and he is not talking about that mukti or the final state. Yeah, please, can you please say something on that, please?
Yeah, so so from what I understand, brother, I have not reached that, so it is just academic understanding. The thing is, what you are referring to is, Swami calls it nirvikalpa samadhi, which is a samadhi state, which is with the body, when someone is persisting in the body.
Yeah.
And I think Swami has previously said, there's, even a jnani remains in the body because of some sankalpa, some thought, okay, that keeps the person in. But what you are talking about is videha mukti, as they say, the person just completely leaving the body, and then merging. That all, that a jnani can do at will, because is consciously taken body, whereas we are not in a state where we can just let go of everything and go to that state. That's all I can say. It's like, someone who knows swimming will jump in, he can dive, he can float, they can come back, no problem. But a person who doesn't know swimming, when they jump into the water, somebody else has to save them, because they are sometimes floating, sometimes drowning, and they're scared. They don't know how to swim. They're beating their hands. So I think it's similar state. A jnani who is above, who has transcended the stages of fear, desperation, and all that, is like a able swimmer who can swim and come back. Yes, is he floating? Yes. Is he going into the water? Yes, he is. But he is in total command. So that you can say he has mastered that. So an able swimmer, when he is in water, yes, is he in water? He is in water. Is he floating? He is floating. But the thing is, he has the ability to just get back to the shore. But one who does not know swimming will also go through the same motions, but cannot liberate oneself. This is my understanding. So the difference between a person in nirvikalpa samadhi is like a swimmer who is in the water. Is he in the water? Yes. But he can go back to the shore without any problem, because he knows how to get back.
Yeah.
This is my understanding. So the samadhi is a state of being mastery over the process of swimming. He can swim in this world, in the samsara sagara, the ocean of existence. He can swim. He will jump. He will go back. So that is the slight difference. Is my understanding.
Yeah.
I hope others can also share their thoughts.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can you just explain the word nirvikalpa?
Okay. See, kalpa means thought. Vikalpa is the pure thought. So, the Swami uses the word sankalpa, Even that also, you can get purified. Divine thought is sankalpa. Or we also say we take a determination. It's a very positive thought. Kalpa is thought. Then vikalpa means distortion of that thought. The thought which comes persists and becomes something else. It becomes something vikara. It evolves into all sorts of thoughts. Okay, nirvikalpa means someone who does not have that. So jnani will always have what's called sat sankalpa. Thought will flash, it will fructify, and then it's gone. Vikalpa means we all suffer from what's called vikalpa. You just, if you have a thought, then there is multiple thoughts, it multiplies. That state is vikalpa. Nirvikalpa means one who does not have that. So even a jnani who is nirvikalpa samadhi, he can walk around, thought will flash, it'll just do something, and then it does not leave a mark, it does not multiply into other things. So nirvikalpa is the lack of proliferation of thoughts. This is my understanding. I will just stop. Others can share their thoughts, please.
Is it similar to what? Sorry.
Sairam, in Tamil we say Sangalpam Pandran solli.
Yes.
Sangalpam.
Yes.
That is.
Sankalpa means, sister, you have a thought, very positive thought, that is Sankalpa. For example, they will say when you're doing puja, you take a Sankalpa. When you're doing a positive.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes. But then if you say, I want to study something, or I want to do puja, that's a thought. Then sitting there thinking, oh, is this puja right? Is it a bad thing? Think all these thoughts will come, which is basically vikalpa. When you have when you have a sankalpa, there should not be any other thought. That is then that thought, like Swami always said, my sankalpa is Vajra Sankalpa, Swami used to say. If I think something, it will happen. There is Vajra means like a diamond, the strongest. Nothing will shake. See, he does not have other. So that is the way we should train ourselves to think. We think and act. We should not, think too much. It should not. That's okay. I hope Sister Kalyani, others can share. I think.
Is it similar to, I think we were talking about a few paragraphs ago about will. So is Sankalpa, can it be like that will, like the will of the Atma? Whereas for us, we may have that will, but it's distorted by our mind and our thoughts.
Yes. The Ahankaram basically distorts it. It's the Ahankaram. That's the manas we know. That's the mind we know. Okay.
So can you say Sankalpa is kind of like will, or?
Yeah, that's the thing, brother. So Sankalpa may be equivalent to will, no, brother?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she is asking.
Yes, will.
Yeah.
That's divine will.
Yeah.
Which we all have, but it comes out and then it gets distorted.
And so when Swami is saying you have to practice this in daily life, like how do we practice samadhi?
Very good question, sister. Excellent. We should not be. I will open it up. I am not going to say anything because based on whatever each person has understood, I think whoever is volunteering can share. How are you going to practice?
Sairam, when we are doing study circle here, every Saturday and the morning and evening, we are doing a Sankalpam and to start the study circle. In practical life, when we do the Brahmins come to our place and do the thing puja before, they are doing the Sankalpam, as the way you said, the good thoughts, and we are doing Sankalpam and do puja, surrendering the God. We are starting with the thing good side.
So before that question is answered, we have to dwell on this line. The Sathaka stage is when you have both construction and destruction. So this is going to be answered for Kalyani's question actually. Please, brother, can you please explain on that?
Yeah. I will open it up because I don't want to be talking too much. Others are silent. I'm sure they have something to share. First, I will open it up for discussion before saying it inside.
So, Sairam brother, the Samadhi stage, how you can achieve the Samadhi stage, my understanding is, Swami says, Shastra says, end of the devotion is Samadhi. So, first you have to love yourself. What do you mean love yourself? You have to love who is seated in your heart, what he wants. He doesn't want all the bad qualities. So you practice those one. And when you practice that one, mind will calm down. Then you can do the meditation or tapas, anything. So doing those kind of things, you can achieve the samadhi. Thank you. This is my nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
Sairam, because here it is Sataka stage. Now, we are not totally, if we are Sataka, okay, those people are in the study cycle, we can believe they are all sadhakas, we are all sadhakas, otherwise why are we here? So we are trying our discipline, spiritual discipline on a daily basis. So we are, if we do more and more sadhaka, this spiritual discipline, that will eventually give us samadhi. But we can't practice samadhi now. So the sadhaka stage is when you have both construction and destruction. So that we are not totally, our mind or ego is not totally annihilated, destroyed, nor fully awake. Our ego is not fully awake as when compared to the non-sadhakas. So our progress keeps our ego in a balance, not fully destroyed or merged, not fully awakened. So this is sadhaka. So construction and destruction. So the more we progress in our sadhana, spiritual discipline, especially through meditation, and we will reach a samadhi, as we discussed everywhere here and on the other Dhyana Vahini. So this what I wanted to share it. Thank you, Sahara.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you. Sister Kalyani, did you get the answer? Or?
So that construction and destruction is referring to our ahamkara.
Yeah. So the thing is, so okay. See, basically, brother, actually, Sivadas has already given the answer in the question itself, because we are all in the sadhaka stage. So Swami says we have to work on destruction. Okay, this is my understanding. That is because we are constructing without any stop. You know, mind is just throwing up all sorts of thoughts. So, as Brother Dasan has already nicely explained, how do we destroy those thoughts? Means reduce the construction. That is what sadhaka is there. We have to reduce the number of thoughts which go here and there. And the only way is, Brother Dasan has nicely explained, through japa, through doing japam, doing dhyanam, meditation. These are various practices, bhajan, or you're doing any other activity, sattvic activity. Through these, actually, we will start reducing the thoughts. Because we are in the sadhaka stage, that is the best thing which we can practice. Because our construction is going on all the time. Mind is always thinking something. So we have to stop that happening. So all sadhana is towards reducing the thoughts, or calming down our thoughts, not being agitated. So this is something which we can practice, but only with God's help, God's grace. And that is why the last sentence is also very great. Swami, please bless me in the practice. So we should take the help from God to practice that. So everything is nicely explained. Okay, Sai Ram.
So it's not that we have to work on constructing our ahamkara in a certain way. Swami saying we have both construction, but we should work on the destruction part.
Yeah.
There's a question from Brother Sitaram. How do we know we are progressing in sadhana? If anyone can share your experiences or tips, it would be good learning for all of us.
Okay, very good. I will open it up for discussion. I think everyone can share, if you have been able to monitor the progress and how you have monitored. And you should ask Brother Sitaram the question, has he checked the progress?
Sairam, I don't know if it's a progress because there is no measurement to measure whether spiritually I'm growing or not. But one thing I have learned in terms of not to have too much construction, but destruction is stop reacting to situations, to people, to anything, because the reaction creates that chain of thoughts and discussions and all of that. Trying my best to act every time is just an act, not the reaction. So it is helping me. Of course, I have to step back whenever I feel like saying something in order to, react. Hey, am I reacting or it's an act? So it's helping me not to talk much or think much. In one of the Swami student, I think it just, he said something like this and then it helped me. In the last 4 or 5 years, that's what I'm doing it. And it's helping me in terms of just act, do not react. Sorry.
Sai Ram, sister, thank you. I think the answer is very silent is the way you progress, I guess. So I think, I think it's a human tendency to see, have you progressed? I think we may be aware of, we have improved. I think everyone always can evaluate, but I don't know how much of a progress it is, because if we, what is the milestone? Have we progressed 50%, 60%? That kind of evaluation, I don't think that itself, will take up too much time of the mind. But I think we are all aware of some progress, some improvement in ourselves. I think that's all we can. And Swami would say, just keep on doing. That's my understanding. So with those thoughts, I think we can move on to the Sai Ram.
Sairam, always I check myself. It's more than 20 years in Canada. We go into the Sai centers and everything. Each study circle, at least I take one point, and when I come home, the particular 1 hour per week, we go to the satsangam or something like that. I practice whole week. Anything I can improve myself, and the thoughts and everything goes in my mind until the next study circle comes. Now it's the pandemic time. We have lots of study circle. I even see in our study circle group, people kind of thoughts and words and things, now they are connecting and talking. I think we can see the progress in our group also. Sairam.
Sai Ram, sister. Sai.
Just to add, Brother Aruno, I think it's a reminder for myself as well when you said silence, and we have discussed that silence of mind, and I think that's what we are referring, right? The silence of mind.
Yes.
I can add up to this talk, if I may. I say it this way. I mean, if you are in a samadhi stage, in a simplest way, you can say that. If you can sit in a room for, say, 5 hours, 6 hours, without doing nothing, without nobody, that will give yourself, you are progressing in a samadhi stage. That's what I experience myself. The other example, you can see whether you are progressing. The simple example: if you can sleep within a certain second in a given space, place, that's also give you are progressing. That's why my understanding it. But Anna can correct me if I'm wrong.
So, Sairam, thank you.
Sairam, brother, my measurement goes with happiness. If you don't worry about anything, that means you are progressing. Don't worry about anything, that means you are progressing. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister Sairam.
So, Sairam, brother. So my understanding is now almost almost going to reach 1 year. So people are participating in the study cycle with a full hearted. So that is one point. They wanted to learn Atmic knowledge, and they started to practice. They wanted to know more and more about. They started to experience, and because of this knowledge, they don't have any argument or they don't have any disagreement. All whatever we are talking here, they are looking at in a different corner. They're accepting. This is one of the level. And when we practicing, we can see that one. We are dispassionate from the attachments. Before we are wanted to go there, vacation and this place. Now we can feel the peace, whatever we learn from here. And we can pray. Now we got that knowledge. Oh, we have to pray. We have to do the Namasaranam. We have to do the at least meditation. At least that kind of levels we are reached now. This is my understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother Sairam.
Can I share one more way which come to
Yes,
my mind?
Yes, sister. Yes.
Another way this has helped me as well. Irrespective how the person behaves with you, it might seems to you it's not good in favor of you. Can you still love that person? Can you still pray for that person in your prayers? And I found that's your another measurement is, can you sincerely, when you're praying, when you're saying Samasta Loka, can you still think of that person in a good manner, irrespective how much that person hurts you? So I guess that's another way of doing it.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you.
Thairam, I think the Sitaram got enough points, I think, brother. Because, yeah, so many angles and everything is sounding very great, actually. And the Kuru's, I will just talk about Kuru's 2 points. Second point, I am talking about sleep. So, the person who has progressed in spiritual sadhana, because his thoughts are always get pacified during the daytime, and also he was fully working, not lazy. No, he's working for the good of him and for good of in the members in the family or outside the home. So that person, when he goes to bed, and no sooner his head hits the pillow, then sleep can overcome. It's a sign of improvement. I nicely put it, Kuru. But Kuru, 5 hours in the room, Samadhi stage, I don't understand that what is about. But because the less we agitated, more quickly we can go to sleep. So
What I'm sorry, trying to clarify that. When I say 5 hours, I just roughly say the hour. If you can live alone in the room, I mean, especially this COVID situation, people are say bored. I got nothing to do. But if you're able to be on the Samadhi stage, you can sit doing nothing for as long as you are in a stage. I mean, if you're flirting around with your mind all over the place, then you're looking to do something. If you are free, Samadhi stage, nothing to be think, free mind, you'll be easily spend the whole day sitting in a room doing nothing. That's what I'm trying to explain to the question, because she's saying how are you progressing on it. I mean, most people are saying, "Oh, I am getting bored. I got nothing to do." People, because they're flirting, the mind flirting all over the place. So That's the problem. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
everybody. Yes, that's
Thank
what I'm
you.
trying to. Yeah, I only just picked up 5 hours just to.
Yeah. That's a good point. Thank you. That's good. I would try to draw attention to Aruna's speech in the Ottawa Sai Centre for the New Year. So now here is something very last one. So somebody asked the question, when will this COVID-19 got over, and what do you think? What is the solution or something in there? Somebody asked. And Arno said, why do you want that COVID-19 to be removed? What is bothering you now? Can you continue like this the whole life? So the thing is that what Akuru you are saying is correct, no? So now people say, Tasan is saying that we have progress. Yes, that's good. Now when the situation is back to normal, will we all be doing the same thing as we do now, attending study circle, meditation, prayer, and no excursion, no trip to London, no trip to California, anything. So the thing is, so Brother Kuru's saying is that if we are contented with the situation, as Brother explained in the Ottawa, are you contented? Can you be contented with what you have it? God wills in this way, and take it and be satisfied. Something like that. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Sairam. I am taking.
Sairam. We already spoke a lot of things, and I say something that when we want to go somewhere else for traveling, we deciding that destination. So when we are traveling on the processing the right traveling, then we notice the places we are reaching. Then we know that we are near to that place. So in same manner that we are getting progress, we can identify ourselves that any changes happening in ourselves, that we are progressing ourselves. Then only we can understand that we are in progress. That's my understanding. Thank you, Sir.
Sairam brother. So the Guru brought a good point too, that Samadhi stage, my understanding, is the end of the devotion. So that means we cannot, that is you are merged with God. You are merged with the Parat Brahma. You can be meditate for a few hours or few minutes, or you can bring that mind to calm down. You can practice for that one. Samadhi is the end of the stage. That is, you are your final stage. You merge with the God. That is my understanding too.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's a wonderful discussion. As we can see, all of us each one has to evaluate for themselves how we are progressing. We will all keep different targets. We will take up different practices. And then I'm sure Swami will guide each one. That is where, everyone in this world is actually being guided, whether they realize it or not. But I think that is the only way we can measure our own. As Brother Rajagopal has nicely said, each person will realize, and I think that's all. That means we should not be worried about how others are progressing. If we just look at how our progress is, that's all we can do, because when we can't measure our progress, we cannot measure other people's progress. It's very difficult, but we can learn from others' examples, of course. So it was a wonderful discussion. Thanks everyone for sharing your thoughts and tips and ways we can practice and see for ourselves if and how we are progressing. Shall we move to I think it's 10:05. Maybe we'll just read the start of the next chapter, actually.
Chapter 11. Bhakta, Swami, I have one doubt. Can I ask you? Swami, certainly. Why do you say, can I ask you? Bhakta, some people describe Brahman as Asti Bhati Priyam. What does it mean? How are these related to Brahman? Swami, is that the doubt? Asti means that which is. Bhati means that which shines. Priyam means, of course, you know it, don't you? Pleasing, desirable, capable of satisfying. All that is Priyam to you is Brahman.
Silent sister. As we can see, the Swami first of all says, if you have a question, ask me. But don't even hesitate. That's the first thing. The second thing is Swami is introducing this Vedantic concept of Asti, Bhati, Priyam. This is another set of words which mean the same thing: Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat is Asti, Bhati is Chit, and Priyam is Ananda. I mean, they are same characteristics are described in different words. So Brahman is called Asti, Bhati, Priyam, and Swami explains that which really exists is Brahman, Asti. That which really shines is Bhati. So the Brahman is the one which shines through everything in this world. And Brahman is the one which gives us actually the joy. That's the one which pleases us. And Swami says, all that is actually Brahman. So I will stop here and I will open it up for participants to share your thoughts. Saira.
I don't know, maybe Swami is explaining it later on. Maybe the last line seems a little counterintuitive. Swami saying everything that's pleasing, desirable to you is Priyam. But then we're always talking about not getting drawn into the senses or into things that are just pleasurable. Yeah, so that seemed a little counterintuitive.
Okay, sister. Anyway, I will open it up for others to share their thoughts. Because no one is talking, maybe. I don't know whether we should leave silence for everyone to think. See, the challenge is Swami says, for example, a child, if a child is just sleeping and being happy, no one will worry and ask, why is the child happy? If the child is crying, everyone will rush and find out why is she crying. That is, it's not that's not its nature. Same thing Swami says, if someone is on the street and crying, then we will all, people passing by will stop and find out why the person is crying. If the person is smiling and going, no one will ask why that person is smiling. So the state of happiness is a natural state for everyone, and Swami says that is the nature of the Brahman. But the problem is, that is actually you're pleased. But the problem in this world is, because we identify something else as the one which is pleasing, and then we try to seek, happiness with that object or a person or anything, then we find we are disappointed. So what Swami says is, if anything in this world is pleasing, it is Brahman which is giving you the pleasure. Brahman which is giving. So do not identify anything else as giving you pleasure. So the whole problem stems from the fact we think something else is giving us the pleasure. That is why we're running after the external world. So because the senses trick you and fool you into thinking that they are delivering you happiness. So we run after the senses, because then the senses say actually the object outside is giving us the pleasure. So the all illusion is because we think we have a feeling of happiness. We think it's happening because of the senses, And the senses thing, it is because of the objects out there. So what Swami is telling is, it is Brahman which gives you the happiness. Once you realize that, you won't have to run behind the objects in this world. You connect to the source of happiness and you will be happy. That is the undiminished bliss. But when we seek happiness in this world, deludedly, the thing which looked pleasing, after 2 days, it is not. The person who think is giving us all the joy suddenly turns out to be the enemy. So, because we are going after the wrong thing and attributing happiness and joy to things incorrectly, that is what it means. I hope this is my understanding, sister, but I will open it up for others to share their thoughts.
That makes sense. So I guess we're incorrectly thinking that the pleasure and the feeling of happiness is coming from outside, but that it's actually coming from Brahman inside. So the converse of that, so all that is not Priyam to us, is that not also Brahman? Like things that are not desirable, things that are not pleasing?
For the Brahman, there's nothing which is displeasing. It is your illusion which causes the duality of happiness, okay? Because Brahman, once it's immersed in that, there's nothing unpleasant, which is what I understand. So if you really look at Brahman, it's always effulgent, it's always happy and blissful. Because
even
the bliss
COVID. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, sister. I am talking.
I was saying even COVID is pleasing.
The beauty is in the eye of the beholder, they say. You know,
I do understand. I just was like, I wonder if you can just like clarify it for me a bit more. Like sometimes when you hear about things like in the news, you know, about crimes and things that are just so disturbing, like how do you reconcile that as all Brahman? Like just like stories about, you know, children being kept in cages or like just really despicable things like that. Like how can you reconcile all of that?
So let me ask, I think it's a good question, but I will pose a question. Why do you think it happens? If a person is experiencing something, I think it's a very important question which we all should understand. Why is a child kept in a cage? According to, I'm talking about Vedantic, okay? We can give any other reason. Why will a person be in a cage? A child.
My understanding is, and I used to have the same questions as Sister Kalyani has. I mean, if everything is beautiful, the Creator has created this, there's nothing at falls, right? So why all these things women and kids are going through? And if I remember, it was a long time discussion in the study circle or with Brother Aruno, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Aruno, because I'm quoting you here, is first of all, it's our own reflection, reaction, resound, the way we see it. If we see everything is beautiful, and it's people's karmas or whatever in the past they have done. It might look bad, but that's their own growth, or they have to go through. The only thing we can do is to pray to God, to Swami, that give us this strength to bear that pain. And can we pray for those people? But we cannot question why it's bad. And whatever we can do in our capacity, that's where the seva and, you know, feeling for other people, it comes, it's good. But at the same time, we have to understand that everybody's going through their journey of spirituality or growth. And that's how it is. And whatever we can do, let's do that. I don't know, I didn't explain, but that's how I am satisfying myself, that I can only pray, and whatever I can do in my capacity, financially, physically, emotionally, I can help people. Why not?
So, Sai Ram, brother, my understanding, whatever Shivani is saying is correct. So, according to the karma, people have to go through the problems. Some people we can see they are rich and they do nasty thing. because he brought that karma. He had that past karma, past thing. So some people are doing good work and everything. They have to undergo so many problems. We have to understand this is the karma. I brought it. I don't know what I did it in my past life. And Swami also saying, don't look at what is happening in the world. It's all Maya. At the same time, if we involve, okay, what is these people all in that crime and everything, then your mind's going to be distracted. You cannot do your spiritual path. So Swami is saying, away from those thoughts, away from this reading, that kind of news and everything. In that way, you can cultivate whatever in the atmic level. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brother. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please? So it's 10:16. Maybe I will. So, Sister Kalyan, I others have not volunteered, so I will just say, my understanding is in this world everything is related to karma, as brother, as Dasanels and Sister Shivani have already explained. Everyone in this world is undergoing the fruits of their actions. Okay, so people should not think it should not be victim blaming and things like that. It's not that. Everyone, see, in this world we can see there are people indulging in actions and people who are reaping the fruits of their actions. The best example which comes to my mind is Prahlada, Bhakta Prahlada. Prahlada's own father was torturing him. Okay, he was trying to kill him and doing all that. But none of that affected him. Okay, none of that affected him because he was in the thought of God. The father, of course, reaped what he saw. So the thing is, anyone who is undergoing any situation in this world, if they are suffering because of that condition, they are actually reaping the fruits of their actions. So it is, see, then the question comes then, should we be indifferent to other people's suffering is the question which comes. The reality is, if somebody is suffering in front of our eyes, it is God who has put us in that situation. So we have to do what is within our ability to alleviate the problem and the suffering of the person. Okay, so if we see suffering around us, in front of our eyes, where we can be of some help to alleviate that suffering, that we have to do. But we should understand sometimes how much ever we do, the person may not recover from the suffering. I think as a doctor, you would know that if a person is suffering from pain, you can administer as much of painkiller. But if the person is still paining and you run out of options, you can't do much. But you will try to help the person to the extent possible. That is your duty. God has put you in a position. So I think independent of other people suffering or not, we have to do what we have to do. But the reality in this world is if people are suffering, they are reaping their actions. Then we can say, what do we do if somebody is really causing harm? Yes, they have to be stopped. But if we are not in a position, we are not at that position, we are not in that place, thinking about it is very, very negative. Because in this modern day world, because we get so much news and information, we consume it. And we can see sometimes people who complain about somebody else causing other suffering, they themselves go and cause suffering, which we see everywhere. Imagine, it's like we are making the same mistakes which we are complaining about. Sometimes human beings get to that point because we blame people. We are not objective. This is my understanding. So the thing is, if things are happening to people in this world, they have brought it upon themselves to a great extent. What is their role? Our role, we should do to the extent possible within our means and ability to help alleviate their suffering. That is our duty. Because just praying to God, please go and help. And things which are beyond our capacity, our world, we should not unnecessarily dwell on it. Because it has become it's a very bad habit human beings have developed of finding out what happens in other parts of the world, and feeling sad and bad and imagine, and we waste our time. That time, if we had spent in thinking of God, we could be of help to people around us, is my understanding. So I will stop here. I will open it up for discussion. Saira.
Just one follow-up question, that the fact that some human beings, because of our mind and everything, we can become really evil, I guess. Is that all part of the plan, or was that a mistake?
Mistake of whose, sister? Creation? See,
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
We say that the world is, it was created by God, like the Leela of God. So the fact that human beings can become so terrible and so evil, and was that just like an unintended consequence, or was that all meant to be we're meant to have these evil psychopaths in our world?
Like Ravan and Kans and all those people. When Krishna was there, Rama was there, I guess. To me, I guess, because that helps me. You know what? Somebody told me, when you experience a unwanted situation which is very unpleasant, or come across people, actually that's helping you in your spiritual growth, because either you don't become that, and you will say, how I can overcome that situation. So it's for your own for your own growth. Bhagawan has created those beings around you. They might not be, but he has created those people, because he is looking after your growth. So that's how I see. So I welcome all those difficulties.
So, Sairam, brother, whatever we learn, so 82 lakhs of things created, including the human being. The human being, Swami gave the knowledge, that's the only different compared to other being. So that is, Swami gave all the knowledge and everything to walk on the right path. So Swami also created the Maya and gave the knowledge too. Up to you, walk on the right path and reach back to the destiny. I can remember one sloka that Tuema Mata Sabita Tuema Bandhu Sasaka Tuema Vitya Travinam Tuema Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. So everything God has given to you, you appreciate that one. Walk on the right path. Thank you, Jai Saira.
So, sister, I think maybe I will just say something and then we'll close. We can start with this discussion actually at the next study circle. It's 10:20. The reality is, in this world, we can see every invention. Let's leave creation out. Even invention, a scientist invents something. It can be put to good use. It can be put to bad use. Okay, if someone invented knife, he invented knife to cut something and eat. That was the original invention. Or sometimes they may have used it to kill an animal, hunt. So the thing is, all instruments in this world is created for positive. But how it is used, positively or negatively, each person decides to use. And when we use it either negatively or positively, the consequences of that we have to face. Okay. That's all it is. And if a person who has not indulged in any bad action, he will not suffer. Even if somebody stabs him, he will not suffer. That will be the state of mind. Ultimately, conditioning to that state of mind is the most important thing, because in that state of mind, the person is not attached to the body or anything like that. Because accidents happen in this world, but Swami says you are Atman. So why are you worried about it? This is what Krishna told Arjuna. If bodies are dying, don't worry about it. That's natural. People who are born die. But you get agitated because you expected them to live forever, or you expected the body to be perfect. So the thing is, there are natural, phenomena which goes around us, which is created. It should not necessarily give us joy or unhappiness, sorrow, but our tendency is to be happy or sad. Swami is telling we need to have those experiences so that we know how to transcend. So, so I think that's my understanding. I think it's everyone can contemplate on this, because in this world, everything is actually positive, created for a positive purpose. But if we don't know how to put it to good use in a positive manner, we will have to face the consequences of that. So with those thoughts, I think we will close today. Today's study circle, because it's about almost 10:30. I will close with Samastaloka and Shanti. Anyone who has something to share, please come prepared to discuss at the next study circle, next Saturday. Saira. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam.
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 Sairam.